everyone, and welcome to day 2 of this 30-day Authentic Life Challenge. I am glad that you all are here because today we get to have a conversation about leadership. Leadership is not always an easy task. There are moments when you have a heart to serve someone that you want to be fully present for them, but they are often sitting in the middle of the broken walls of their lives. The walls that they have experienced from divorce, the walls that they have experienced from their insecurities, the hurt often that has been hounding them from childhood. If you decide to enter into that space, knowing that your heart to serve is simply to give them a guide, give them a strategy, give them some insight, because maybe you can recognize the pain that's seated in their soul, because once it was yours. Maybe you recognize the storm that they are walking in because once it was yours. I want you to know that if you are an individual that's purposed to walk in the middle of a storm, that's purposed to walk in the face of opposition, in order for you to persevere, you need to know your purpose. That's one of the reasons why I start this challenge off with a purpose, because if you know your purpose, like we were saying yesterday, you have a vision that will help you persevere in the midst of opposition. Leaders stand when no one else will, knowing that there is a strong possibility that they will get knocked down. I remember those moments when I was trying to figure out after my divorce how I was going to make it through this thing called life. All the past insecurities that had existed in my life just sort of manifested. I initially thought that it was because of the chaos from getting a divorce, the broken relationship there, only to discover that that broken relationship was sitting on top of so many others. Now, I thought I did the work, because you know that as an individual that really is trying to make some adjustments when you're in the middle of trying to fix relational breakdown, you do the work that you think you need. So I thought I did the work that I was supposed to do to heal my marriage, only to discover that most of the work I should have been doing was on myself. I didn't know enough at that time to be clear about what I was supposed to do to ensure that Tanya was whole. I didn't know enough at that time to be clear to know that I was doing the pieces that would have made me better so I can persevere to make certain that everyone that was connected to me at that point could be better as well. So if you find yourself in the middle of that place where you are now faced with the past elements of yourself that you got to deal with, you may have done what I did and put up a wall. See, I put that wall up because that wall was supposed to protect my heart. I put that wall up because that wall was supposed to protect my soul. I put that wall up to keep me, only to discover later that that wall became the barrier that kept love from me. And until I did the work, I couldn't get any better. See, if you have been in a place of pain for so long, pain is comfortable. It's like a little blanket that you snuggle up with on occasion. And you will stay there if no one chooses to come in to get you. That's why we need leaders that will stand in the gap for us, that will come into the midst of our fears, in the midst of our moments of chaos and trauma, and show us a path. Those leaders that stand usually do it with their knees knocking and their teeth chattering, because they also knew that the only reason that they stood up to stand in the face of adversity, to be the leaders that we see them today, is because they just didn't want to be where they were. I ended up becoming an author, a speaker, and a coach because someone needed me to stand. But that was birthed from my pain. That was birthed from my chaos. I want you to know that if you find yourself in the middle of that moment, you can be the leader in the middle of your knees knocking and your teeth chattering. But know that you can persevere through that by helping others rebuild their walls, because some people's walls are broken and they need to have those put back in place so there's a standard and a barrier that gives them the boundaries that they need to be whole. If you find yourself in a position where you need someone, that leader, they may be walking through the same thing that you have, just a couple of steps ahead, but follow their guidance because they are also laying a path that can give you your breakthrough. I want you to know that when you're walking in the midst of that storm with those fears and those broken places that you encounter, you don't have to do it alone, because that person that reached out to you with that strategy, that gave you that insight from their book, that gave you that moment of growth so that you can be whole, may only be a couple of steps ahead of you. So they're not too far away from the window that they have opened or the door that they left ajar. I like that statement because my grandmother used to tell me, baby, when you go, make certain that you leave the door open. Now, for a long time, that made no sense. But when I've discovered what she was sharing is that there are times a leader will walk a path to pioneer it because people want to go. They really want to get there, but they don't want to be the first because they don't know what landmines that they'll stand in. You may be the one that will have to stand in the gap. You may get a little bit of shrapnel for some things because until you learn where the path actually is. But leave the door open. Leave it open for someone to be present. Leave it open for someone else to get the things that they need. And for day 2, this is what we're having an extended conversation on. So if you are not on the Zoom, you're going to miss the rest of this discussion. I encourage you to go to my website, tanyaehood.com. There you can see where you can get the registered link on Eventbrite. You'll get an auto scheduler that invites you into the meeting today at this moment. I encourage you to join me and looking forward to seeing you on the other side. In the meantime, this is Tanya E. Hood, walking in my purpose, and I want you to do the same.